Book of Enoch provides a unique window into the time before the Great Flood, detailing the origins of evil, fallen angels called the Watchers, and their interactions with humans known as the Nephilim. It's some seriously wild and mind-bending stuff. One particular story from the Book of Enoch that really caught my attention revolves around what the Archangel Michael did to the wives of these fallen Watchers after they corrupted humanity. It's a bizarre and chilling tale that reveals the cosmic battle of good versus evil playing out on Earth. So get ready, folks, because today we're uncovering one of the strangest and most disturbing stories hidden away in this ancient text. You simply won't believe what Michael did in his quest for justice and to cleanse the world of the Watchers' transgressions. To understand the context, we first need to discuss who exactly the Watchers were according to the Book of Enoch. The Watchers were a class of powerful angelic beings tasked with observing and monitoring humans on Earth. Enoch describes how a group of 200 Watchers, led by angels named Semiaza and Azazel, became enamored by human women and their beauty. Against the Lord's commands, they defected from heaven and descended to Mount Hermon on Earth to pursue these women. Once on Earth, the fallen Watchers began taking human wives and having children with them, offspring that became known as the Nephilim, a race of giants and heroes of old renown for their supernatural strength and stature. Not only that, but the Book of Enoch states that the Watchers began teaching their wives and humankind all sorts of forbidden knowledge and practices like sorcery, root cutting for magic, astrology, meteorology, and weapon crafting. This imparting of secret knowledge corrupted humanity immensely, filling the earth with violence, immorality, and evil practices. As you can imagine, God was none too pleased with these rogue Watchers interfering with the natural order. So he sent the archangels to judge and punish the Watchers. The leaders Semiaza and Azazel were bound and cast into darkness. But the fates of the Watchers' wives were particularly grim. According to the Book of Enoch, God commanded the Archangel Michael to bind the wives of the Watchers and punish them for their roles in corrupting humanity with witchcraft and sorcery. What exactly did Michael do? First, Michael had the wives brought before him and bound. Then, the text states that Michael defiled the wives, which scholars largely interpret as Michael raping or sexually assaulting these women as part of their punishment and humiliation. As absolutely horrific as that is, Michael's treatment of the wives only gets more disturbing from there. After this mass sexual assault, Michael is described as then transforming the former wives' appearances, giving them uglier forms. The ancient text states Michael made their bodies even more etymologically ugly than any human being as further humiliation and judgment for their transgressions with the Watchers. But wait, there's more. Michael wasn't done with his brutal punishments yet. Next, the text describes how Michael had these disfigured wives cast into the darkness and bound there, forced to watch as their giant Nephilim children turned against each other and destroyed one another with bloody violence. The former wives could only despair helplessly at the sight of their monstrous offspring tearing each other to pieces right before their eyes. Now, it's worth noting that this exceptionally brutal story involving sexual assault and mutilation exists only in the Book of Enoch, as it's not found in most other ancient religious texts. So we have to take it with a grain of salt in terms of absolute historicity. That said, the gruesome story does reveal much about the beliefs of this ancient sect of Judaism. It demonstrates their views on the origins of evil on Earth from the Watchers' interactions with women. It shows a worldview of harsh, Old Testament-style judgment and divine punishment for disobedience. The details of Michael's actions also highlight the ancient cultural contexts of female subjugation, sexual violence as a means of humiliation and domination, and overall treatment of women as property and second-class citizens. From a modern perspective, the story is utterly horrific and abhorrent on multiple levels. The idea of an archangel enacting brutal sexual assault and mutilation as a justified punishment is about as far from ethical or moral behavior as you can get. Even if we consider the ancient, misogynistic cultural lens, the sheer extremity of Michael's actions in defiling, mutilating, and psychologically torturing the wives seems excessive to the point of sadism, not justice. So ultimately, we're left with an ancient story that was perhaps meant as a parable of divine judgment and punishment. but through modern ethical frameworks, it comes across as shockingly cruel, dehumanizing, and misogynistic instead. It's important to examine these ancient texts critically and place them into the proper historical, cultural, and literary contexts to avoid taking them too literally or out of context. After recounting the deeply disturbing details of Micheal's judgment on the Watchers' wives, the Book of Enoch shifts to describing the aftermath and ultimate fates of the Nephilim offspring. Enoch states that once the giant Nephilim children finished their self-destructive bloody fighting, the earth cried out in severe distress from the loss of so much blood being spilled upon it. The earth's cries of anguish rose all the way to heaven, where the Most High, the eternal Lord and King of glory, heard and saw the full scale of the devastation caused by the Watchers' sinful actions. Finally, having seen enough, God sent powerful spirits known as the cherubim to earth. Their mission? To exile all remaining Nephilim children from inhabiting the earth any longer. According to Enoch's ancient words, the cherubim bound and gathered the remaining Nephilim together before throwing them into valleys, deep abysses, and ravines across the planet. There, the Nephilim were forced to watch as the cherubim utterly destroyed and consumed their former dwelling places on earth with fire and brimstone. This cataclysmic act was God's final punishment and purification of the earth from the pollution and corruption caused by the Watchers' transgressions with human women and the resulting cursed Nephilim bloodlines. Only then, after the fiery purge, was the earth finally cleansed and renewed back to its original, pristine state as intended by God in the beginning. So in essence, Micheal's brutal judgments on the wives were just the start of a series of escalating catastrophic events and punishments enacted to eradicate every last trace of evil brought about by the Watchers' rebellion and interference in the earthly realm. Well folks, that's the wild, ancient story of the Archangel Micheal's extreme, violent judgment on the wives of the fallen Watchers as told in the Book of Enoch. Obviously, the details are incredibly disturbing, obscene, and flat-out unethical judged through modern moral frameworks. The mass sexual assault, mutilation, and dehumanization enacted by a supposedly righteous archangel is simply indefensible. And yet, as shocking and appalling as this ancient story is to our modern sensibilities, it reveals a lot about the beliefs and worldviews of this ancient sect of Judaism. Mainly, their understandings of the origins of evil on earth traced back to the Watchers taking human wives and corrupting humanity. We see the ancient belief in harsh, uncompromising divine judgment and punishment for those who violate the heavenly order, an eye for an eye, a type of brutal justice. We glimpse outdated patriarchal views of women as subjugated property. And we witness perceptions of angels and supernatural agents enacting violence and devastation on a cosmic scale. So, while the details defy all modern ethics and human rights, examining this archaic text provides insight into the mindsets and mythos of ancient people from a vastly different era. It's a relic frozen in time that shows just how far humanity has come in progressing beyond such barbaric worldviews. With that, I'll leave this disturbing tale for now. If you made it this far, huge kudos and thanks for coming along this bizarre journey into one of the strangest ancient texts out there. As always, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future myth, mystery, and biblical content coming your way. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.